Good evening, and we begin at 5 with a winter wallop set to hit right at the peak of the holiday travel season. A storm that is forecast to bring freezing rain and so much more, now poised to hit the metro area starting Thursday and continuing into Friday, the day before Christmas Eve. That has travelers preparing for trouble on our roads and runways and families stocking up early on supplies. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, and already we've seen problems developing with challenging icy conditions in the gorge and flight cancellations in Seattle and into BC because of snow and ice. Now, within the last couple of hours, Multnomah County also declared a state of emergency in anticipation of chilly temperatures and biting winds that are likely to arrive even earlier. We have team coverage tonight with Evan Watson covering the latest in the Columbia Gorge. But first, let's get to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. And Matt, it sounds like it's going to be a wintry mess. What's the timing looking like? The
good news is we have tomorrow to prepare, get ready, because tomorrow it'll definitely be colder. You're going to begin to feel that east wind with a bit of, not a bit, it's going to have a bite as we go later in the day tomorrow, but no precipitation tomorrow. So again, tomorrow the roads will be dry. We should be able to get out and about and supply up, get to where you need to go. And that's a good idea to do all of that and get ready to hunker down for Thursday and Friday because the roads are going to be a mess. They're going to be really dangerous for that time period. Up at Timberline right now, nice and snowy as you would expect. It's relatively mild at 30. But part of the storm that I haven't even mentioned yet is the wind chill up in the mountains on Thursday and Friday will be below zero. So there will be dangerous wind chill temperatures around the northwest. And this is why our air dropping straight south out of Canada. You can see these are just the temperatures, not the wind chill. 22 below, it's 40 below way up north of Fort Nelson. It's already in the teens in Vancouver, BC. So again, a good indication as to what's headed our way. Spokane is already down to 14. And again, that's just that cold air will pool on the east side, then funnel through the gorge and over the Cascades as we go to tomorrow night. Thursday and Friday is when the precipitation begins. So our winter storm watch begins during the day on Thursday and continues into Friday here in the northwest, here in the Willamette Valley, rather, in southwest Washington. And then farther north and east, we have winter storm watches and warnings in large part for the precipitation they're getting tonight. So the headlines go down like this. For Portland and Vancouver, snow will turn to sleet and freezing rain midday on Thursday. Thursday is when it really begins to get nasty. In the gorge, 4 to 6 inches of snow, blizzard conditions, which means visibility down to and below a quarter of a mile with blowing snow. Then it turns to freezing rain and sleet in the gorge, and we'll also bitter cold wind chills in the gorge, especially the western gorge. But Hood River Valley, you're going to see that too, up to 6 inches of snow and then ice on top of that. So there's going to be a hard crust on top of the snow. The Cascades, even there, it's going to turn to freezing rain as it warms up aloft, and below zero wind chills to go with it. So again, there's a lot happening here, David. It all begins on Thursday, continues into Friday, but I've got good news for Christmas. Back to you.
All right, looking forward to a little bit of good news there. Thanks, Matt. Speaking of the gorge, they got an early taste of what is likely headed our way. Officials say icy conditions there causing crashes and extended highway closures today. One driver was killed this morning while traveling on I-84. Let's bring in Evan Watson now in Troutdale. Evan, the highway's back open, but given these frigid temperatures, the chilly east winds, and so much more in the forecast, seems almost everybody is now talking about round 2.
That'd be exactly right, David. I talked with some drivers here who said, hey, today they had to wait 6, 7, 8 hours to get on I-84 eastbound behind me. What's it going to look like Thursday and Friday with some of the winter weather projections we're seeing? Now, of course, that depends a lot on if people slow down or take caution. And of course, we don't know what the roads will look like, but still, transportation officials say, hey, you need to be aware of this, and this could be dangerous coming a couple of days. Red lights all around. Icy roads and crashes caused an 8-hour closure of Interstate 84 eastbound between Troutdale and Hood River on Tuesday, backing up hundreds of trucks before the road reopened at 1:30. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office reports the driver of an SUV died this morning. Investigators say that driver was likely standing outside their car when a semi-truck crashed into them, killing them. Later, another semi crashed into the scene. The Sheriff's Office says ice may have been a factor, something the Oregon Department of Transportation is warning drivers about.
Anybody who's planning holiday travels over the coming holiday weekend needs to plan ahead. And that means know where you're going, know what your travel route looks like, check the trip check cameras to know where your destination looks like, and allow extra travel time.
ODOT spokesperson Don Hamilton says salt trucks and de-icer and sanding trucks are ready for projected icy conditions on Thursday into Friday and the weekend.
Everybody should be watching the forecast very, very carefully. If you can plan ahead and leave before the storm hits, that's always a very wise decision.
On the Washington side of the gorge, crashes closed State Route 14 at different points Tuesday, something that may happen again this week.
Slowing down for the conditions. You can't expect to drive 55 in weather conditions like this.
Washington Department of Transportation spokesperson Tamara Greenwell says the upcoming weather may be difficult to manage if temperatures are at or just below freezing.
There's a very difficult transition point where we are working to get a de-icer down, but we don't want that de-icer to be washed off by the rain that's coming or traffic that's on the roadway. But then there's a period when it starts to freeze.
An incoming storm, she says, paired with a much anticipated holiday weekend, will create difficult conditions for drivers. ODOT spokesperson Don Hamilton joked with me that the Columbia River Gorge gets everything from snow, wind, rain, ice, visibility issues, maybe everything except locusts, he said. But still, when it comes to the next couple of days, slowing down, taking extra time to get to your destination, checking those traffic maps, having blankets, food just in case, all of those good recommendations if you're driving through this way on either side of the border. David?
Absolutely. Evan Watson in Troutdale. Thanks, Evan. Now is the time, as we have been saying, to start to prepare for the storm Thursday into Friday. The timing, of course, right as we hit some of the busiest travel days of the year, with the number of people flying now forecast to reach near pre-pandemic levels. Our Christelle Kumwe checked in with the folks at Portland International Airport on how they are preparing for the pre-Christmas blast.
It's the peak holiday travel season at Portland International Airport.
It is the busy season indeed.
Close to 600,000 travelers are expected to pass through PDX in the final 2 weeks of the year.
So we're going to Las Vegas for winter break.
To Mexico.
I'm headed to New Orleans.
Friday is one of the busiest days at the airport. The icy forecast expected that day could make travel plans a bit complicated.
Our teams have been battling Mother Nature for quite some time with the weather.
But Kama Simmons with the Port of Portland says the airport knows how to get through poor weather.
We're going to do everything we can to prevent ice from building up. Again, snow, not as difficult as ice, right? You kind of brush that out of the way. The ice is really where it gets challenging. So there's a lot of eyes on the weather forecast, and we're going to wait and see what happens.
The airport pre-treats paved surfaces with anti-icing agents when bad weather is imminent. Crews are often placed on standby and transition to rotating 24-hour shifts as needed. They also deploy specialized equipment to de-ice surfaces and keep the airlift operational if freezing rain starts to fall.
I'll be sitting out on the beach while you're in the cold.
Travelers we spoke to on Tuesday were relieved to leave winter weather conditions behind.
I know we're supposed to get snow, and I'll be so glad to be out of it.
Very excited to go to Vegas and escape like the coldness and stuff.
I'm happy to get away from it for a while, yeah.
If you are concerned about this week's forecast ahead of your flight, you might consider reaching out to your airline to see if they can make trip adjustments in advance of bad weather.
Our advice, again, is check with your airline. Make sure that you are safe and give yourself plenty of time if weather lands here and you are trying to take off.
Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.
By the way, the apps are sometimes faster than waiting on hold, so check it out, see if there's a message option. Meanwhile, the season of snow already impacting air travel in parts of the Northwest. 200 flights canceled so far today, almost at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. 150 plus others are also delayed. Further north in BC, Vancouver's International Airport said it had a, quote, unprecedented number of canceled flights because of snow. Airlines say they are canceling flights early in hopes of stopping a domino effect. Well, let's return now to the state of emergency in Multnomah County, with the county and the Rose City working to open cold weather shelters starting tomorrow night and to keep them open 24/7 as long as necessary, with no one, they say, turned away. Brian Clerkley also checked in on how local nonprofits are reaching out ahead of the storm.
Yeah, it's really bad. It gets really cold though. Yeah, it does really cold. We gotta, like, a lot of us gotta stay together sometimes. Like, it gets a different kind of cold, you know?
Cold weather is expected to hit Portland, and Mitchell Saxton is picking up some things from Blanchet House downtown. The nonprofit is handing out coats to people in need. Saxton has been living on the streets for about a year now.
Every day it's like Like sometimes just a struggle, like just to find a bathroom. Where am I gonna eat next? Like you're just thinking like second to second.
Along with coats, Blanchet House also passes out scarves, gloves, shirts, pants, and food. The line was long with people waiting to get in to use the services. There's a huge need in the city of Portland.
So every meal service, we've been handing out about 100 to 150 items of clothing, jackets, shirts, pants.
We have hats and gloves.
Over at Transition Projects, a homeless services agency, they're preparing to hand out tents, sleeping bags, and warm coats. The outreach team will be looking for people in need of these items during the cold snap. Transition Projects will be prepared to take people to shelters.
So we work with 211 to find out who has a shelter bed available. When it's not severe weather and the severe weather shelters are not open, then we're using 211 for that.
In order for cold weather shelters to open in Multnomah County, temperatures have to be 25 degrees or below, an inch or more of snow, or temperatures below 32 degrees with an inch of driving rain.